Shock Monkey Radio is created by adults for entertainment purposes. The views and opinions expressed here do not reflect the sponsors or FXPG Public Radio. For additional information, refer to the U.S. Bill of Rights. Stand warned. Anyway, let's go on to talk about Tulsi Gabbard a bit because she's a cutie. Yeah, and Tulsi Gabbard slammed Schiff, Brennan, and Big Tech as more dangerous than the Capitol rioters. You know what makes her hot? Her brain. Okay, so former Representative Tulsi Gabbard, Democrat from Hawaii, asserted that tech industry leaders and Democrats such as Representative Adam Schiff from California, the highest paid government employee, and former CIA Director John Brennan as domestic enemies of the U.S. who are more dangerous than the rioters who stormed the U.S. Capitol building on January 6th. In a video and thread posted to Twitter Tuesday morning, the former Democratic presidential candidate denounced the violent protesters, but warned that efforts to combat insurgency through surveillance and other monitoring activities posed a greater threat to our country. Quote, the mob who stormed the Capitol on January 6th to try to stop Congress from carrying out its constitutional responsibilities were behaving like domestic enemies of our country, Gabbard said. But let's be clear, the John Brennans, the Adam Schiffs, and the oligarchs in big tech who are trying to undermine our constitutionally protected rights and turn our country into a police state with a KGB-style surveillance are also domestic enemies, and much more powerful and therefore dangerous than the mob that stormed the Capitol. Gabbardi for the win! I said Gabbardi. Gabbardi is my mage in World of Warcraft. She's a fire mage. I made that character when she was first started running. So I don't want to call it Tulsi, so I called it Gabbardi. Anyway, so Gabbard, I can't get around it. Gabbard then showed a clip of Brennan telling MSNBC that Biden's nominees and appointees are now moving in laser-like fashion to try to uncover as much as they can regarding activities they said were reminiscent of insurgency movements that have risen up in other countries. Schiff, the chairman of the House Intelligence Committee, that terrifies me. Having worked in intelligence, that terrifies me. Anyway, he introduced a bill in 2019 that would create a new statute for a federal offense of domestic terrorism. The bill did recognize the potential for abuse, calling for a report on civil liberty issues that would arise from the new statute being made public within 4 years of the bill's passage and enactment. Another 2019 bill, sponsored by Senator Dick Durbin, the Democrat from Illinois, calls for establishing offices in the Justice Department, FBI, and Department of Homeland Security that would, quote, analyze and monitor domestic terrorist activity. Since the January 6th riot, lawmakers in Washington have once again been considering a domestic terrorism bill, leading civil rights groups to push back, claiming that federal authorities already have the tools in which they need to stop criminals without giving them additional powers. As I'm in the middle of that paragraph, the thought popped in my mind. It's like, you know what, why don't you just reopen everything? Let these people go to work, and then, boom, you get a huge drop-off of people hanging around the streets, burning shit down. Anyway, go get a job. And I was like, oh, fun time's over. Anyway, so since the riot, okay, I read that already. At the same time, social media companies like Twitter and Facebook have been blocking accounts that they say have posted inflammatory comments. Including those of former President Donald Trump. Fire Mage Gabbard called upon Biden and lawmakers from both parties not to allow measures that would infringe upon Americans' rights in the name of law enforcement. Quote, President Biden, I call upon you and all of Congress from both parties to denounce efforts by Brennan and others to take away our civil liberties endowed to us by our Creator and guaranteed in our Constitution. If you don't stand up for them now, then our country is in great peril, she said. Tulsi, baby, you need to get on a plane. You need to come and fly into Washington, Dulles, rent a car, start driving south. About an hour south, and you hit Fredericksburg, you need to give me a call. And then we are going to go get a hotel room, and I am going to shake your hand and say, you are the most beautiful and awesome person ever, and can I please have sex with you? Because there's nothing hotter than a woman like Tulsi Gabbard. Yeah, she's a Democrat, but nobody's perfect. You know, I mean, I may be a staunch Republican, but it's not like I say I wouldn't date a Democrat. You know, I'm flipping through Tinder earlier, and it's like Trump supporter swipe left, and I was like I haven't even met you yet. We're going to start talking about politics right away. It's like, I'm just trying to get my dick wet. You know what I mean?